Hello students, today's lecture is for CPU addressing, different methods for operand fetchings from addresses. Okay, so this lecture is particularly made for the various methods to assess the address of an operand. So before I start, I would like to tell that this topic is easily understandable. Okay, so together with explaining the points, means how the addressing takes place in the instruction, I have developed a mnemonic. By the help of that, you will easily memorize or recall the points in your exams so that it will become comfortable for you to write the exams. Okay, and we know this thing that CPU instruction is a set of strings fed to the CPU or processor of the computer for a corresponding process. Okay, and a typical CPU instruction appears like this, that it consists of an opcode followed with the target location or address followed with an operand. Okay, like this. Now, before proceeding, you must mug up this phrase. You must mug up this phrase, mug up this sentence. That is, that important jobs must be finished and registered immediately. Okay, important jobs must be finished and registered immediately. Otherwise, directly or indirectly, relatives start counting automatically. Okay, important jobs must be finished and registered immediately. Otherwise, directly or indirectly, relatives start counting automatically. In this phrase, these red words are of use and black words are of not. So, how this phrase, this mnemonic is connected with memorizing of the theory which I will demonstrate? Be with me up to end. Okay, so let's understand one by one the different kinds of addressing modes. First is implied mode. In implied mode, what happens that operands are specified implicitly in the definition of instruction. It means what? The instruction is particularly given to the memory element, not to the operand. Okay, it can be clear by this instruction. See, this is instruction CPU instruction CPL, and what is its meaning? When CPL is input to the processor, then the meaning is complement the accumulator. It means what? Whatever the value present in the accumulator, convert into its complement. Complement, you know that 0 convert into 1 or 1 convert into 0. Okay, so suppose in the accumulator the operand is 001, the CPL will make it 110. Okay, so CPL instruction is actually rendered to the memory element, that is to the register accumulator. CPL is rendered to the accumulator, not to the operand which is placed inside. Okay, so this is called as implied mode. Now immediate mode. In immediate mode, what happens that in the instruction itself the operand is written directly, no need of fetching from somewhere. For example, add r150. It means what? That whatever the magnitude, the value present in registered r1, add 50 to it. Okay, so 50 itself is the operand, so it is not to be fetched from somewhere and then brought. Okay, so this is called as immediate mode. Now register mode. In register mode, what happens that the data transfer takes place between the two or more registers of the CPU itself. Okay, and it can be clear by this example. Suppose the instruction is move r1 r2. There is a comma in between. It means what? That whatever content is there in r2, shift it to r1. That's it. Automatically, the whatever the operand is there, it will go in r1. So this is called as register mode. Okay, now direct mode. What happens in direct mode? Actually, in the instruction, the address of operand is mentioned. In immediate mode, directly the operand was there. In direct mode, you can see this instruction add r1 comma 0011. So actually this 0011 corresponds to the address of operand. So when this instruction is fed to the processor, it will fetch the operand from 0011 address and then add it to r1. So this is called as direct mode. Now what is indirect mode? In indirect mode, what happens in the instruction, in the address part? Okay, actually the address of a new address is given, and in that address the actual operand's address is there. Directly this address is not fetching the operand. The address contains a new address, so that address contains the address of operand itself. So this is called as indirect mode, and this is by memory. This can be there with the a register also in place of memory. This memory is of RAM or main memory maybe. Okay, but in case we are using the register of CPU, then still it is indirect mode. By register means in the registers of CPU a new address is there, that address is containing the address of operand. From there the operand will be fetched. Okay, now relative mode. So relative mode is of three kinds. One of them is program counter. Okay, so program counter is a small digital system which can increment the address with the execution of instruction. It means what? Whenever the operand is fetched by putting some address, then this program counter contains an address part that address part is actually added to the previous address to get the new address. Okay, so every time whenever one instruction is executed, the address part of this program counter is added to the previous address to get the new address, and new operand is fetched. So this is called as relative mode program counter. Now relative mode base register. Okay, so base register is a sort of register of processor. Okay, so in place of program counter, in case base register is used, it means that after fetching the operand, suppose the address is presented to the memory to fetch the operand, then after fetching operand one time, the address part of base register is added to the previous address to get the new address and to fetch up the new operand. Okay, so this is relative mode base register. And in place of base register, in case we are using index register, it is also a sort of register of processor. Right now I am not discussing about the details of these registers, just you can learn it like this, that it is sort of register of processor, same like that of base register. Okay, so what happens, the concept is same, that once the operand is fetched first time, then for new address, the address part of index register is added to the previous address to get the new address, and from new address the operand is fetched. Now auto increment mode, it is like this, that suppose the instruction starts from an initial address A. Okay, once the operand is fetched from A, some number is added automatically to A. Suppose I say 001. Okay, so the address becomes incremented address, say B, that is equals to A plus 001. Okay, means it's starting from some initial address, say A. So once the operand is fetched from A, 001 is added to get a new address B. Okay, now what happens, that this B becomes A. Okay, now the same process happens as happened with A. So now when B will become A, again from B the operand will be fetched, again 001 is added, so a new address comes out, that is C. Then the to C the same process happens in a cyclic fashion like this. So this is called as auto increment mode. Okay, now let's come back to that mnemonic. See, important jobs must be finished and registered immediately. Otherwise, directly or indirectly, relative starts taunting automatically. It means what? Important means implied mode. This IMP. This can recall implied in your mind. Implied mode. Registered means register mode, in which the data transfer between the registers. Okay. Immediately will recall immediate mode. It means that the operand is in the instruction itself. No need of address. Direct. Direct means what? That address is written directly in the instruction. Here you can see this is the address part. Okay, from where the operand has to be brought. Now indirect mode, it is this indirectly word will recall indirect mode. So indirect mode is of two kinds, in which like this. Okay, so operand address is actually contained in this address. So indirect approach. Okay, so in case we are using the RAM or other memory device, then indirect mode by memory, otherwise indirect mode by registers, in case we are using registered. Then now relative. Okay, so we have already learned there are three relative modes. Those are PC relative and base register relative and index register relative. Okay, automatically will recall the auto increment mode. Okay, so hope by this small lecture you would have understood about the addressing modes of CPU. Thank you.